Ian Forrest here again. Having reached this fourth video, you will have noticed that I have pointed out broad descriptive headings to set a background for the overall picture. From now on, I'm going to narrow the field of description and evidence for you to see a total summary of what I have experienced, as expanded in my autobiographies. In my last video, I promised to continue a fuller view of the separate UK jurisdictions and the effect that they have on our lives and theirs. So let me dive straight in and declare that control of the truth inevitably leads to dishonesty, which is fraud. Also, it spawns mistrust, let alone damage and loss. Within the civil courts, although mention of criminality is taboo, the practice of committing it is incredibly universal, mostly by the judicial system itself. This covers a panoply of criminal offences, which include conspiracy to defraud, bearing false witness, perjury, the gamut of fraud, theft of course, abuse of power, other offences by officers of the court, and much more. But there are variations to the above before we start. They are based upon secrecy. The first is where the truth remains unsaid. In other words, deception by omission. The other is more sinister. It is that the truth can be ordered not to exist. That is done either by decree or, for instance, by the judiciary refusing to accept truthful evidence, which is essential for justice. Both of those, being an essential part of deceit, yield control and clearly are an ingredient for any desired outcome within the court system. This paves the way for an overview of that system, so essential in many ways for the well-being of our society. So let us go back to some first principles, particularly in the civil courts. Firstly, all the officers of the court owe their allegiance to the Queen. I am a great royalist, but bless her, she has no idea what is done in her name. Effectively, this means the judicial system can do what the heck they want. Secondly, the establishment claim that the separation of jurisdictions gives litigants the benefit of an adversarial system which will benefit them by representation. Absolute phooey. Thirdly, officers of the court, besides their arching allegiance to the Queen, form a band of duty and profit to work together to the exclusion of litigants, a sort of mafia. Like them, the overriding conduct is based upon greed, control, and self-protection. If you have employed a solicitor and barrister, then what they do, openly and so often a secret, is entirely out of your control. They work on and present case law, built up over decades, to quote before the court. Believe me, there is practically always one case law which is diametrically opposed by another. So we have a pick and mix arrangement, usually contrived and arranged between the opposing legal representatives and normally before the proceedings. Then one has a colluding judge to whom the representatives have secret and direct access, and it will come as no surprise, surely, to find that a fix has been engineered for the predetermined outcome. All of this is not based on the law of the land, but comes from decisions and orders establishing so-called precedents, which then form the basis of another decision. Time and again in courts, I have quoted the superior constitutional common primary statute laws, and they have been brushed aside with contempt. Also, when an order of precedent has been declared by a judge, one would think that the matter was finite and closed. Oh no. A different judge can nullify that and allow appeal after appeal to occur until financial exhaustion or the secret purpose has been achieved. Truth, case law, honesty and justice can all be manipulated. I am going to use that last word many times in these videos because it cheats justice. Justice. But meanwhile, fees are pouring in, which can be increased by unnecessary convolution. I will end this video, leading to the next one, by pointing out that this system, for most of us, breeds injustice and unfairness. Those with most money must surely win. But this is supported by the fact that criminality must not even be mentioned. No wonder the UK is such a popular place for the few. You can imagine that litigants in person are enemy number one, because we find out too much of the chicanery which goes on. From all this, there are far-reaching consequences for this country and its citizens, in a way which is carefully and ruthlessly hidden. As an addition to this, and if you're interested in justice, there's something much more sinister coming up in my next video. Thank you very much for watching this one of a series which outlines disclosures in my autobiographies from hard evidence and experience.